What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Scevoli TANO Tonight Show, guys. I bring special guests, and I always bring special guests. I like having new friends, new Star Wars fans. It's a good time to have new Star Wars friends. Sometimes your Star Wars friends are toxic, but this one's not. So I'm glad that I got him on board. He does everything for her universe, Ashley Eckstein's company, which the voice of Ahsoka Tano. He does great digital content for his channel, for his page and everything. You might know him as the Star Wars Aggie, but is he Aggie? We don't know. We're going to find out tonight on the Scevoli Tonight Show. Isaac, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me on the show.
You're very welcome. I love your content. I love your Star Wars creating things. So I'm glad that you're here.
I'm excited to be here tonight. It's awesome. Thank you for having me on the show, man. I appreciate it.
Anytime, Isaac. Anytime. You're always welcome on the Scevoli Tano Show. Always. So my first question to you is, Isaac, the Star Wars Aggie. Where does that come from? You can tell me if that comes with your Star Wars journey, because I'm going to ask you the same thing, Star Wars journey. Where did your Star Wars journey start? Like, where did it all begin for you?
Well, without giving too much of my age, let's take it back a couple years ago. So my Star Wars journey actually started when I was in high school. Believe it or not, I didn't grow up with Star Wars. I got into it in high school. One of our English teachers introduced the concept of the hero's journey. So the hero's journey, Luke Skywalker, being mentored and then going forward. So I started off by watching off New Hope. So started about New Hope, and I got hooked. I was like, this is a really cool thing. I think I remember, seeing this at that time. I believe episodes 2 and 3 were about to come out, but I didn't really know much about it. So I did start off by watching New Hope, and then afterwards I'm like, okay, Empire Strikes Back, and then afterwards let's go to Return of the Jedi. By the time I saw those, I was like, okay, now I guess I got to go to the ones that were coming out. Revenge of the Sith was about to be out at that time, and I liked it enough to where I was like, I want to actually go to the theaters with one of my friends. So my friend and I, we went to the theater, not like any midnight premiere or nothing like that at the time. It was just like, let's just go. I want to watch it at this point. And I ended up loving episode 3. I think, you talk with a lot of fans. Revenge of the Sith is pretty high on the list for a lot of people.
That's mine.
Yeah. So Revenge of the Sith is pretty high. I did love Empire Strikes Back. I'm actually wearing an Empire Strikes Back T-shirt right now. I actually just got it recently at the last convention I was at. Loved it. So episode 3 was coming around, and one of the gifts that my friends gave me, he gave me a Obi-Wan Kenobi figure. It was like one of the 3.75s, and at that time it was, again, Revenge of the Sith. And I got that as a birthday present, and I was like, this is really cool, but I didn't open it. So that was like, honestly, my first Star Wars figure that I got, that I was like, okay, this is really cool. So then afterwards, man, just the toy sections back in the day were amazing. Like, they were superb. And I remember going to like Walmart, and they had like just the whole shelf of just Revenge of the Sith. And of course, people probably tell you like, oh man, of course, Phantom Menace is also really good back in the day when you saw all the shelves and everything like that. Those were great. But for me, it's like just looking up, oh, I really like this character. So I got an Obi-Wan. I remember getting like an Ayla Secura figure, and then just collecting a little bit of figures from that line. And then I was just collecting, I guess in high school is the big thing that I just started collecting. There was a lot of them that, a lot of what I have here, stuff that I started afterwards once I started getting those 3.75 figures. So I liked it a lot, and I just kept on branching out to different figures here and there. And yeah, I've been collecting for probably several years at this point. I've been collecting for a long time. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's a lot of work has been put into the collection, but it's great. I've had so many of these figures for so long, and of course, occasionally I'm buying like new figures depending on where I'm going. If I'm going to different conventions, I'm always like looking at different things to get. And of course, I do love to highlight specific characters. I'm like, those are the ones I want to focus on, because obviously I've had a lot of stuff over the years, but now I have to kind of shrink down what my main focus is at this point. So
That's
now
me.
it's so it's like there's so much merchandise out there that's it's insane. You can't really collect it all. So now it's like you're a collector, you have to kind of focus on some of the main things that you like, and that's kind of what I've been doing now. It's like narrowing down what I'm actually looking for and things like that. But yeah, Star Wars journey, funny enough, started in high school for me. I didn't grow up with it. It was just I got introduced to it in high school, but then afterwards I didn't stop. It was just like I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna keep collecting, and I've been doing that ever since. So like I said, without giving away too much of my age and things like that, um, I would say the Star Wars Aggie himself probably wasn't born. The handle name wasn't born until a little bit later on. Once I was in college. In college, I attended Texas A&M University. It's a university here in Texas. So I grabbed the Aggie name just because that's the thing that they are, Aggies. And there was literally one day that I just posted one of my Star Wars figures. I was like, let me post this and on Instagram. Let me post this up. And that got more likes than anything I ever had before. Like before, it was just, small things. I grew up on Pokemon. I posted some Pokemon things on there. And then I posted my Star Wars figure, my Obi-Wan, and it got a couple of likes. I was like, oh, cool. Let me post my other stuff. So by then I was like posting all the stuff I already had started collecting. And then people ended up liking it. So I was, you know what? Maybe I'm gonna make my focus on my page kind of Star Wars. I want to try to connect with the people, and that's kind of slowly how it started happening. I was able to start meeting different people, and they started following me because of the stuff that I liked, and so I got to talk to other people, and that's one of the things I love about Instagram. I love things that like you and I can do right now, and things that you can do with other people just
Correct.
because of this one like interest that we have. I've met so many people from different backgrounds, from different parts of the world because of Star Wars. And it's fantastic that we're all able to kind of connect like with this one thing that we like. So that's a lot of where afterwards I changed the name. I was like, I'm going to put it nothing but Star Wars. Then I changed my handle name. And since then, it's kind of just been the focus. It's just been the focus of making this kind of like a Star Wars related content page afterwards. And it's been fun. It's been such a blast doing this for the past several years. And oftentimes I think maybe I should start branching out a little bit more with other things and things like that. I mean, I love YouTube. I've always thought about maybe I should try to do a YouTube thing and things like that. But it's always a time frame for me. It's always like it's kind of difficult, with life and things like that. I have a lot of stuff to do with work, so I do get involved with other things. But I still love coming back and doing anything Star Wars. So that's the thing I love. I love doing that.
That's what I think. The one thing you said, like, is you love the Star Wars, and I think that goes for everybody that creates with Star Wars. That they love what
Yeah,
they do. Like, I love doing this show. I love having people on like you and other guests just to talk about Star Wars because it's like. At the end, yeah, all the toxicity, we can push that away. We're all
yeah,
just one, not, we're all like a dysfunctional family that we just don't all like each other or things that we like. Like you said, like you're focusing on the things that you like the stuff like to say like Ahsoka or the Revenge of the Sith era. Like me with this animation, anything animation,
oh, yes,
I love animation.
yes,
I think like
yes.
you won't find any live action in my room. Like you'll find all like animation busts, posters. Like I'm not a big fan of live action. I'm always a bit. I stay fair to I can't even speak animation.
I'm with you on
'Cause
that
that's
one. I'm with you on
yeah,
that
because
one.
that's where I really fell in love with Ahsoka and Anakin as
Yes.
characters, and that's why Ahsoka is my favorite character. Anakin's my second, and Ezra is my third. Slash
Oh, good
Sabine
choices.
animation. But it always changes with my top three. I can go with Saj Ventress one day. I can go with
Oh,
Barris Offee. I love the female characters of Star Wars. I think I've grown because I was like one day I thought to myself, I was like, I like all female characters instead. I like only like a couple males. I'm like, that's amazing because I do love what like Barris stands for and Asajj and Ahsoka and who else do I like? Sabine. Sabine's my favorite Mandalorian. And stuff like that. So I think animation was always my home, like for That's how I fell in love. Even now I'm like getting into X-Men now, like the new Legends that came out and everything like that. Like I'm getting involved in that. And I was like, I love the Fairly Odd Parents. I love Danny Phantom back in the day. SpongeBob's
Nice.
out. So
Nice.
it's like, so I'm like, I think there's something really not wrong with me, but I was like, even I have the Scevoli TANO store. So I was maybe thinking about just naming it like an animation store. Like just
Oh,
do
cool.
a whole like animation thing. It means like from Marvel, What Ifs, from Star Wars, from X-Men, DC, stuff like that, Nickelodeon, and do stuff like that and see what happens. I was thinking about that today when I was working, and I was like, that would be pretty cool. I don't know if people would get on board with that, but
Mhm.
like some people will. Like, you'll get something out of it. So I'm thinking about it dearly of that choice of not just going Star Wars, of going everything.
Well, you
House
know
of the
what?
Dragon. I'm a big fan of the Game of Thrones like saga. So I was like, should I do House of Dragon? Pins. I don't see much. I don't see a lot of merch like with the live action shows. You see a lot of merch for the live actions, and that's
Yeah.
why I feel like with the animations you can do a lot more like with your custom designs, with your custom pins, because there's not a lot of animation stuff. Like you were
Yes.
saying, I think you said something about the merch or something that you had a whole wall like Walmart, and now we don't even have that. We have like
Mm-mm.
one little
We have one little peg now.
one little peg, and it's all the same figures. It's
Yeah.
all like it's not different. It's not the 3.7. It's like the Black Series. You won't find like Toys R Us figures no more. You won't find like I'm trying to collect all the old Rebels toys and stuff like that because they're once in a lifetime. Even some of the Clone Wars, like my favorite characters. Um, yeah, and I'm trying to find the X-Men character, like the Legends, old figures and stuff like that. And it's like, where's all the other merch? Where is like
Hmm.
the t-shirts? Like for Bad Batch, like especially Bad Batch, I always talk about this on my show. Bad Batch season 3, where are my Funko Pops? Where are my t-shirts? Where are my posters? Where's it?
Yeah.
Like Bad Batch season 3 didn't get nothing. And
Yeah.
I'm always like a proud supporter of where's Bad Batch season 3 merch, because it's not here, and that shouldn't be, because look what Bad Batch season 3 did. Like it killed it. Like all the episodes were fire,
Yeah.
intenseness,
Sad.
like on the sad, like, and we give them nothing, but you give the Acolyte that no one really likes. Like I like it. I don't have a problem with it, but that a lot of people have their opinions on, and you give Funko
Oh.
Pops,
Hmm.
merch, t-shirts on the Disney store. But where's the Bad Batch stuff that people dedicate accounts to on Twitter and Instagram? Like I don't see an Acolyte fan page. I really don't see. I haven't seen that yet. Maybe there is one, but I just haven't seen it. But
Right.
like, where is that? Where's the love for the Bad Batch? Like everybody loves it. We need a new animation show, which they're coming out with. I don't know what.
Yeah, I heard about that. Hmm.
I think it's going to be maybe a Zod's Ventress show or a Captain Rex show.
Ooh.
I would love that because I love Zod's Ventress. I want to know what her story was like, maybe into like the Resistance era or like the sequel era. Maybe she's still alive. Quinlan Voss too. I would love to see back in live action. I would like to see more of Order 66. That's what I want more. I know that's a sad era, but I want to see like how Quinlan Voss survived. How other
Hmm.
Jedi survived, because we know Cal Kestis' story. We know Ahsoka's story. We know Obi-Wan's. We know Yoda's. I want to see the other Jedi's that did not get massacred.
Yeah, that'd be
Massacred.
cool.
I think we should have like not a flashbacks, of Order 66. I like that. I like to see more of that story because it's such a deep, dark point in Star Wars. Like that's the pivotal moment in history of Star Wars. Like I don't think
Mhm.
we'll ever get an Order 66 again. So not in the new movies and not in other movies. So yeah.
You know what? Make that a show. They should definitely just come up with just call it Order 66. Follow different Jedi's perspectives, and then
Shorts.
you can see yeah, shorts. You can see whether or not they survived. That'd be cool.
Correct. I think they did a Tales of the Empire, which we really weren't expecting, which was amazing.
Awesome.
Some people
Loved
didn't
it.
like the story, but
Oh,
I like the story. I like it because it was just more to the story of what we already knew. Like Morgan
Mhm.
Elsbeth, okay, she knew Thrawn, her connection to Thrawn, and then Barris Offee's story.
That was great.
That was great. Is she dead at the end? Spoiler alert, probably not. I don't think that would kill her. I think she would probably die of old age or force healing people. You know, she's a force healer, so maybe that would be it. But I don't think she would die that way. I don't think they would bring her back for 3 episodes and then like kill her. I think she's still alive. But now the Tales of Jedi are coming out season 2, so I don't know if Azad's Ventures is part of that. That season, you know, 3 episodes. Was it 3 episodes? Yeah, 3 episodes of Zaj and then 3 episodes another one. Or maybe they're all Zaj. We don't know. But
dang.
Or Balin, you know, 3 episodes of Balin.
Yeah, exactly.
3 episodes of Zaj.
Oh,
because at the end of the Jedi, they were both Jedi.
Yeah.
So I would like to see Balin back where he was. How did he survive Order 6? Who was his master? You know, and see what happens, and how does he know Anakin? How does he know Ahsoka as well?
Yeah, you know? True.
Or maybe
things to think about.
And Kanan, you can do a Kanan story too. Continuation right after Order 66, when his master is eliminated. Where does he go when he jumps from Bad Batch season 1? Where does he go? You know, we know his comics, but they've already switched so much to the books and comics. So, maybe an Ezra little show of where he gets in Rebels, where we see him in Rebels. How does he come up with the Force and stuff? Or Sabine, like I know we saw Sabine in Ahsoka using the Force. Maybe Ahsoka trained Sabine. Maybe we'll see Sabine's part of story. But I didn't like that. I didn't like how she just becomes a Jedi. I didn't like that.
Yeah, that was odd.
Yeah, it was odd to me. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I thought she was a Mandalorian. Like I thought she could hold the darksaber. But okay, we go with that. I didn't really like it, but I guess that's the story they're going with now, which I don't like. But it's Sabine, so I'm going to support her character, you know. So and Ahsoka's too. So, but yeah, I think that's where we should be. More merch, more Bad Batch merch,
more Bad Batch merch. Let's get the Bad Batch merch.
Yeah, that's all we really need. My next question to you, Isaac, is. So we know we're all both big Ahsoka fans. Is Ahsoka your favorite character?
Is Ahsoka my favorite character? Yes, she's gonna rank in my top 1. I know you're talking about top 3. So it does differ for me as well too. Ahsoka definitely top 1. Number 2, Cal Kestis. I love Cal Kestis. Yeah. I love Cal Kestis. Yeah, he's like my boy. Like he's awesome. I love him.
He's like the secret Jedi that you want to put in your top 3. Like I would allow him to be in my top 3.
Yeah, so
he's
like
definitely in my top 5.
Cal Kestis is like he's already up there. And oh man, I'm trying to think who my 3rd would be. What do I have a lot of? I think I also like Bastila. You ever played Knights of the Old Republic?
Yeah,
Bastila Shan. Yeah, I think she's pretty cool. So I love that character arc as well too for her in that game. But yeah, I think like a lot of the live action stuff. I mean, I love the live action, but I do like certain characters, like we talked about animated ones. Ahsoka, Tano for sure. Cal Kestis came out, and I love that story. I love the game. It was great. So I was like, yeah, he's definitely going to be in the top 3. And last one definitely would be one of the other ones I just like from a game that I used to play countless hours with. I used to play that game a lot. So I think that one was really cool too. So it does differ. I do like Ezra on different occasions. So I know you mentioned him as well too. So Ezra definitely goes up there as well too. I'm a big Ayla Secura fan as well too, so I love Ayla Secura. She's great. I love her, and you know, just it kind of differs. But yeah, we definitely got to go with Ahsoka. I mean, I definitely connected a lot more. Also, of course, with the animated ones like you were talking about. Definitely love that one. So animated series. I mean, I've been following that since since I got into it. I've definitely been following all of that. Bad Batch we're just talking about. So yeah, definitely got to go with Ahsoka.
Ahsoka's the main one.
Yeah.
The main one. And Cal Kestis is a unique Jedi too. Like you play as him. Like you're actually him. You know, you actually play as Cal Kestis. And I can't wait for the third game because the first game was fire. The second game was even better. And I think the third game is even going to be awesomer. And I can't wait for it because Cal Kestis is really a unique character. And he can learn. Now he has a child. They have a child now. So it's going to be, and she's force sensitive. So it's like, what are they going to do next? You know, are they going to make it into like after the Return of the Jedi? How are they going to do it? You know, because we know Cal Kestis is alive during the Mandalorian era and stuff like that. So
yeah, it's always interesting kind of seeing that, to see like, well, what happens, where are these characters at in the main, you know, the movie plot lines? Like where are they at during this time frame? So,
and it has to make sense, you know, just like with the World Between Worlds, it has to make sense when they did it. Now I asked, so I had on, I don't know if you saw Roy Ross, who was in The Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett. He played a Mando, and he plays other characters. Nice. Amazing person. So he asked me the question before we ended our show the other night. He was like, the World Between Worlds, because you like that suggestion, you liked Rebels and stuff like that, he said. So I was like, oh yeah, what about it? So he was like, do you think when Ahsoka lost, did she fall in to the World Between Worlds, or she was in a sleep? Like she was sleeping. Like, or she got knocked out. Because as we know, like the World Between Worlds can only be opened through like a portal. You know, like Ezra we see in Rebels. That's the only time we saw it open. And when they closed it, you saw Ahsoka go her way, you saw Ezra go his way. You know? So now your opinion is what really, like, she knew she did all that. Like the Clone Wars, we see everything. But was she dreaming? Or was she actually in the World Between Worlds? Because then we see her at the water. You know, she's alive. So that, like, it when he said that, it actually made a lot of sense to me. Did she actually go into the World Between Worlds? Because you can't just enter it unless she did, and we just don't know it. And we'll see it in future episodes. But what do you think?
I mean, I honestly think she probably was there just because, like we said, it's a portal, and we've seen different ways I guess you can go into the portal. So I actually haven't given it that much thought. I was just like, okay, it looks like she's sleeping and then she entered it, but now you're saying is like, well, I kind of want to believe that she was actually there instead of it just being a dream.
Correct.
That's a good one. I don't know because I guess
got you there.
Yeah, I guess she could be dreaming the whole thing, but do we really just want it to be a dream? I kind of don't want that. I don't want it to just be a dream.
Does it make sense? Does that make, like, when she lost to Balin, okay, she lost. Then she goes into the World Between Worlds, but why did she go to the World Between Worlds? Because she lost? That makes no sense, because if she lost, she would have died. So, like, if you really think about it, like, does that make sense? Like, mine boggles you, because it's like, that doesn't make no sense. Okay, she lost. But she fell into water.
Yeah.
It's not like she fell, like, on the hard ground, busted her skull. Like, she fell in water. And we know Ahsoka's not going to die because of that. You know, she's not, we know that's not how she's going to go. We don't know how she's going to go, but that ain't it. Yeah. So it was like weird when they entered, when I saw her go in and she goes, Anakin, I didn't feel any of that moment. Like, I didn't cry. Like, people cried. I didn't feel that. Like, I just felt like, oh, here we go. This is okay, we see Anakin, what's coming of this? Like, what is going to happen? But yeah, like, it was weird that they entered it. And I didn't realize it because in that moment, I'm not realizing it. I'm watching the episode. Yeah. I'm not thinking about, okay, how is she in the World Between Worlds? You know, how is that happening?
Yeah, how does that happen?
When he told me about it, I was like, that makes sense. I get it now, because does that make sense? Like, how did she? It just doesn't open because you fell in water. You know what I mean? Like, like, you really have to think about that, and I don't have no brain cells to think about that. So I'm all out of brain cells for that. But
I guess I guess in hindsight, it is just a dream. Then I guess it could be for real. If I'm thinking the Harry Potter, the scene comes to mind. If it is just dream, Harry Potter's like when he, Voldemort hit him with the Avada Kedavra, and then
Ah,
he's pretty much dead, and then everything's going on in his head. So it could be a thing like, of course it's happening in your head, but doesn't make it any less real. So it could be happening in her head.
correct.
Yeah.
Um, so my next question to you is, if George Lucas called you and said, "Hey, Isaac, the Star Wars Aggie, I need you to make a show. It could be any
Nice.
show you want. It could be live action, a movie. It could be a show. It could be a limited series. It could be anything you want, live action or animation. What would that show be? It could be any character that's out now. It could be anything that happens now. It could be even your own self as a Jedi if you want to do it that way. What is your dream Star Wars project and why?
Okay, so I mentioned this earlier right now. So Knights of the Old Republic has a great story. Great gameplay, great story. I would love to see either an animated, actually, let's make it animated version. I don't want to do a live action version of this because the live action versions of almost anything that we see nowadays, it can go both ways. It's just like
Correct.
people either really like it or they don't. It just like live action gets so much hate, and I think that's what we talk about, where it just becomes a very toxic thing at times. But the animated stuff is fantastic. Go make this an animated project based off of what's already out there. Like the whole story for Knights of the Old Republic is already there. Like if people haven't played the game, I think people will be really invested in what happens if you make this an actual animated series, because you're following a character that you play, and you're following this guy's, guy or girl, whichever one that you play. But I guess I'm trying to think. It would probably I would want the character to be a male, just because I think typically in the storyline of it all, it makes sense for it to be the male character. But make an animated version of Knights of the Old Republic, and the reason why is because all the things are already there. Like they just have to reference it. They have to just reference everything that people already worked on, but make it into an animated one, because the graphics on everything are so outdated. But if you can incorporate bringing animated versions of this, I think it could be a hit. So everything's already out there, the whole storyline, the thing. We just got to get the animators involved. So George Lucas, let's get the animators involved in making a Knights of the Old Republic. I think it'd be a hit. You already have Acolyte going on. Go back even further. Go back even further to this specific timeline, to this group of characters that I've loved. I think that should be something that should happen. I would love to see that in the future, and an animated version of it, because the animated ones, as we talked about, they're legit. They're fire. Almost anything animated, love it. You love it. I love it. I think a lot of people will be on board. And then of course, get us the merchandise. All right. So if you're gonna make Knights of the Old Republic animated, I want to see some merchandise. Just like with the Bad Batch, where's our merchandise? So I want to see some merch on that too. But I think this will be a fantastic way. I think it would be a hit if we had something like that.
I think we have. I'm not familiar. I have to read the Knights of the Old Republic, like that era. I have to read. I haven't read it.
Oh,
Reading like all my favorite books now, and like every month or every like 2 months there's a new Star Wars book, and I'm trying like to go to work, watch shows, and like catch up on everything. And it's just you don't have enough time in the day to do it.
yeah.
My mind is like Professor Xavier, like just runs like
It just runs like this.
just runs like this. But yeah, I would like to see an Old Republic. Like the Acolyte, like the High Republic, I wasn't really familiar with. I'm still not familiar with it. I know some Jedi's that are there.
Same. I've pieced together some things. Of course, I read a little bit of characters and things like that, and I've kind of read a little bit about that era. But like I said, if they brought that even further, I think the timeline, because now Knights of the Old Republic it's not considered canon, but
Correct.
My gosh, make it canon. Make it canon. It's already there.
Hey,
I'm telling you, the
they
whole
do
story's
so
there.
much Star Wars of making things canon and not canon. I really believe non-canon is canon. Everything is like
Non-canon is canon.
yeah, even the Legends books, like I feel like they bring it back into like the live action shows and the animation shows, like it's mentioned.
They're trying to bring those things in there, and that's great. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And like I like that they brought that in there. So they're slowly trying to do it. So hey, bring me some Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah. So now I'm gonna ask you: what is your top 3 favorite Knights of the Old Republic characters?
Oh, nice. Okay, good one. So let's go with gotta go with my girl. Let's see, Mission. She's awesome. Mission and Zalbar. So them two, you gotta have them together because they're the combo. So she's great. And like I said, I really liked Bastila. So I like that one. HK47 HK47, he's legit. He is like we need a droid like that in Star Wars at some point because he is funny. His thing is just like he is an assassin droid that's just super witty, like super witty.
And they came out with a Funko Pop.
Yeah, it came out in a Funko Pop, yeah. And I think those are going to be released pretty soon, right? I think I saw, I was like, hey, they're going to release them as a Funko Pop. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
so,
they have 3. I think it's him, Magalus, and something else. Someone else.
Treya. I think it was Darth Treya. I think she's in the second one. Yeah. So yeah, I think HK also is in the top as well too because he's funny. So Mission Zalbar, Bastila, and HK47.
Now, would you like a remake of the Old Republic games?
A remake? No. Like I said, I think the story's already good, and of course they tried to expand it. Well, actually, it was more of a different storyline by then because it was a second part, but they kind of did different characters. But I don't think it needs to be a remake. Not everything has to have like another
story.
Yeah, like the story's already good, and I liked it a lot. I just don't think I would want it to like do something else here. I don't know if they want to try to do something different. Go for it, something entirely different, maybe like a new set of characters, but nah, I would say leave it as is. It's great. It's a great game. It's even available on Switch, so I even bought it for Switch not that long ago, and I've been replaying it on my free time. So I used to play this on PC long ago, and now I'm redoing it again. Still a lot of stuff I love about it, but it doesn't need to be a remake. We're good.
Isaac, my next question to you is top 3 favorite Star Wars movies.
Oh, let's go. Okay. So, number 1, I'll give you a curveball. Number 1. Number 2, Revenge of the Sith.
Rogue One, you said is your one. I couldn't hear you there.
Yeah, Rogue One.
Okay.
Rogue One is top. 2 is Revenge of the Sith. 3, Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and when I talk to people, and we're like, "Hey, what's your favorite movie?" And I say Rogue One, they're like, "That's a pretty solid choice." I'm like, "Yeah, actually, I loved that movie. It was so unexpected to see like these characters that you're introduced, and then they all die." I was like, "Whoa!" Like that was a curveball for sure. Like I was not expecting any of that. I love the direction that they had with it. There was a really solid story, and then of course it connected to where we're starting to see in New Hope. We see Darth Vader come out. You see Leia at the end. So I think they really did a good job of introducing us a new set of characters. This story of how, hey, we have the Death Star plans that they're talking about in New Hope, and this is how you got those plans. So it was a nice little movie to where you get to see that time frame after the fall of the Republic, and you kind of see this little gap in between of how we are going to get the plans out to the Rebel Alliance. So I think that was great. And so Rogue One, top of my list, like it literally bumped up Revenge of the Sith. And Revenge of the Sith, I mean, that was just like, again, high school era, and I loved it. So for me, it's like wow, all these people that that you were introduced. You saw Darth Vader and how he became Darth Vader. You see it in Anakin Skywalker, so I think that was really cool. And yeah, Empire Strikes Back, of course. When I first started watching Star Wars, I think that was my top one once I was watching the original trilogy. So those three are my top. I still believe that the four part animated that we got when Ahsoka when Order 66 is happening, that 4-part like little those episodes, they could have made. Yeah, they could just make that a movie. So I'm like, in my mind, that's the movie in itself. Like seeing that of Ahsoka and how she survived that, and then how she gets Rex on board. Like I'm like, that's like a mini movie right there. Those 4 episodes were amazing. So yeah, that's a movie in my mind. So that would also probably rank. I would say honorable mention on that one.
That's good because I love the Clone Wars. Clone Wars.
Yes.
So that it goes right into Revenge of the Sith, which I loved.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to ask you your favorite top 3 lightsaber battles.
Oh, lightsaber battles. Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure this is almost everyone's top, but it's got to be Obi-Wan and Anakin in Episode 3, right? Like that whole thing. Amazing. Seeing that in theater at the time, I thought that was cool. So cool. So yeah, I think I don't know if that's everyone's, but I'm pretty sure everyone kind of ranks that one pretty highly just because of the lightsaber scene in itself. So that would be my top one. Second one, I mean, honestly, the Ahsoka versus Maul. Yeah, I love that one. Like it's, him versus her, like fantastic. So I really love that lightsaber scene. That whole thing afterwards, like when you got the windows shattering, and then he's like trying to offer her his hand, like, hey, join me, like this, you don't understand. Like
it was so amazing. So amazing.
I'm like, yeah, so that one, I'm gonna say my second one. Just I'm starting to think about, okay, what lightsaber scenes do I like? So let's go with number 2 on that one. Number three, that's tough because I'm trying to think who fights a lot. I think afterwards, Darth Vader maybe versus the Obi-Wan in the series where they have before, I guess, the rematch before the final match. I thought that was kind of cool. It kind of highlighted Obi-Wan. And also, like, beating Anakin again. Like, this is the second time that Anakin lost, to his master. And so by the time we get to New Hope, by this point, Obi-Wan's older. He can't really, he can't keep up with Anakin at that point. At that point, she's like, Anakin or Darth Vader, takes over. Honorable mention, Obi-Wan and Darth Maul. To see the actual finale of Maul, that was a great like a showdown of like those old school samurai ones. I think that's what Dave Filoni was going with. It was just like it was just like a showdown. It wasn't going to be nothing fancy because we've already seen all the fancy stuff before. And by that time, Maul's already tired. Obi-Wan's already older. So I think that by that point, it's just like cross paths and that's it. Like you just gave it one last go and he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it afterwards. But I really like that. That's my honorable mention, the Obi-Wan versus Maul towards the end of Rebels.
That's such a good scene.
Good scene, right?
I wish it was a little longer. I wish the battle was a little longer.
And that but why wasn't it like crazy again? And I tried to understand it from that perspective because of course I'm like, oh, here we go, it's gonna be really great. And when it was, I was like, wait a minute, why? And afterwards, I started thinking, it's like, well, and when I started reading a little bit more about what I guess the vision was, and that's what it kind of was. It was these two characters have, hated each other for so long, and it's just that was it. That was like they couldn't keep fighting forever, right? They couldn't keep trying to go after him, and that was like all Maul could kind of give, and also Obi-Wan could give. But I kind of afterwards, I have an appreciation for that scene now because I'm like, man, that sucks. That I mean, Obi-Wan, had to do it right. Obi-Wan had to be the one to survive.
Had to
But
finish him.
yeah. But to see Maul's character afterwards, to go like, Maul's had some highs and some lows, so his character arc fantastic. So I think that one is like you kind of fell for Maul's like, yeah, he's, they're relying on Anakin, to eventually be the chosen one afterwards.
Correct. Now, my final question to you, Isaac, is for everybody want to start. It doesn't have to be Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
A YouTube channel, digital content, TikTok. What is that advice that you can give that boy or girl or anybody out there trying to start a YouTube channel or trying to be a creator? Making maybe a full-time job or something. What is that? What would the piece of advice that you would give that person?
Yeah, so honestly, the big thing is you just have to do it. I think you have to start. You have to be under that mentality of just let me do something, find something one that you're passionate about. It doesn't have to be Star Wars. It can be almost anything. I've got a lot of different hobbies besides Star Wars, and I'm very passionate about those things. But I think the main thing is find something that you're passionate about, and then just start doing it. Like I said, I don't do YouTube, but I appreciate the people that do. I love following content creators, talking with people on podcasts. I think the main thing is, as you are able to connect with your audience, then that's great. Stuff that you're doing yourself, stuff that other people are doing, you have to be willing to start, and you also have to accept criticism that comes with it as well too. You don't have to have a ton of followers. As long as you have those people that are supporting you as you're doing this yourself, that's all you need. Like, as long as you're doing it and it makes you happy, that's the main thing that I would tell other people. It's like, find something that you're passionate about, start it out, because it can be very difficult with different things that people do nowadays, work, anything else related to life as it is. We can get busy at times, so you got to have the specific time to do it. And it doesn't have to be a full-time gig if you don't want it to be. I mean, I love people that do it full-time, and I think that's fantastic that they do. If you don't have that time, just do it when you're able to. Set aside some time and just start it out. I think that's a big thing that kind of pushes people away, because like, no, I don't know if I want to do that. They discourage themselves, and I think you can't think like that. You have to just be willing to, you know what, I want to do this because I have something I would love to talk about. I love talking about X, Y, and Z, and I want to see if I can also find other people that also like the same things that I like. Because at the end of the day, it's about connecting with other people. It's about connecting with other people, and just being yourself. As as corny as it sounds, be yourself, because that's honestly how you're going to connect with the people. But it doesn't have to be anything crazy. You can start off just by posting. Like I said, I don't know how you do with the whole YouTube thing, but I think it's great. There's a lot of things that go with it, a lot of work. So kudos to you. Kudos to the other people that also do it. But you just can't be afraid. At the end of the day, is if you like it and it only gets you a couple posts here and there or a couple likes, that you should also be happy with it as well too. Because the likes come and go, man. The likes come and go, but if you're able to make friends for so long, like I have made so many friends because of this, and people that now have been friends for several years, and they're in other parts of the world. You're gonna be one of these guys. Yeah, you're gonna be one of these guys now too, man. So I'm gonna hit you up on all these other Star Wars stuff too that I come across, man. So yeah, I think that's the best advice I can give for people. Just as long as you're passionate about, go ahead and do it.
Be you.
Yeah, be you. You gotta be you. Yeah, always be yourself.
We don't want imitations of you, peoples. We don't want that.
No, we don't.
But Isaac, thank you so much for coming on the Scevoli TANO Tonight Show. It was great having you on the show. You do amazing work, like I said to you in the beginning. Keep up the great, hard, educational Star Wars work that you do. And yeah, so before we go, where can everybody find you on the social medias?
Well, like I said, I only have just one. It's just, you can follow me on Instagram, The Star Wars Aggie. I'm there. I like to post up when I can. And I'm trying to think of different things in the future, but so far it's just Instagram right now. So you're more than welcome to give me a follow if you like.
Yeah, I don't worry. We followed each other a long time ago in a
Hell
far.
yeah.
Don't worry. But Isaac, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate you and your time for coming on and talking Star Wars with me. You're welcome anytime on my show. And maybe we'll be
I'll take you up
collabing.
on that. I'll take you up on that, man.
There you go. Anytime, anytime. You're always welcome. I tell people all the time, if I don't hit you up, hit me up. I'm sure I'll definitely will answer.
Cool, for sure.
And maybe we'll collab on something. You never know. You never know
We
what
could,
Star
yeah.
Wars thing we can collab on. You never know.
Nice. Yeah, exactly. Could try doing that.
Yeah, but thank you for joining us, guys. Thank you for home at watching. I will put all the links to follow Isaac in the bio below. Thank you for joining us on the Scevoli TANO Tonight Show. Be sure to subscribe down below to the YouTube channel, The Scevoli TANO Show. Be kind to one another, and may the Fools be with you, my friends. Always.
All right. Have a good one, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
In my life, when you find people who need your help, you help them, no matter what.